Teachers, today we're going to go over the core curriculum protocol with you. Please let us know if you have any other questions. After this is done, you can email us. And today we're joining Miss Griffiths in her first grade class.
Yay.
Here we go.
Okay, so we just wanted to make sure that you know how to fill out this core curriculum protocol packet. So in your packet, you should have received a calendar. You have your standards breakdown right here. You should have gotten highlighters and stickers and your instruction sheet and then your core standards. So if there's something you didn't get, please let the office know, okay? All right, so let's start at right here where it says place a star by your grade levels priority standards for quarter 1 and quarter 3. So if I were in first grade, I would have all of my information about everything I've taught this year, what percentage of my students were proficient. You want to have all of your data before you even start. Now, you're going to take and put a star just by your priority standards. I don't know what first grade's priority standards are, and so I'm just putting something in every box here. Okay, so once you've done that, then this first thing right here, you're going to do individually. You don't need to do this as a team. In fact, you don't really want to do it as a team because you're not looking at team data, you're looking at your own data, okay? So you're going to get your yellow highlighter and you're going to highlight everything that's been taught, everything that you've taught throughout the year don't forget you're just doing quarters 1 through 3. So I'm going to look and I have definitely taught my priority standards, so I'm going to highlight those. And then also, there are some standards that you teach that aren't necessarily your priority standards, but you've done them. So I'm going to highlight those as well. Okay, so after you do that, then you're going to get your pink highlighter, and you're going to just add that to the ones that you've highlighted yellow for students that you know the students are proficient, most of them anyway, are proficient in this standard. So I'll look here and I'll say, you know, this wasn't a priority standards, but I'm looking at my data and I can see that I had most of my students were proficient there. My students know that. And so you'll just do that on the ones that your students know, okay? Then you're going to put the number of students that know each item. So just use approximate numbers and use a percentage, but use your data. And so I'd look at my data and I'd say, okay, so this NBT1, I could say I have data that shows 90% of my students are proficient in that standard. Or here, I'd say, okay, 85% of my students are proficient in OA3. So you'd go through and do that for all that you have yellow and pink, okay? So yellow is just if you taught it, pink is if you know that your students know it. Once you have all of that done individually, then you get together as a PLC, get together with your team and ask each other these questions. See how you determined what to mark yellow, how you determined what to mark pink, and then if you're unsure if students have retained the concept. So how can you find out if you marked this pink at the beginning of the year, 90% of your students know it, do they know it now? Have they still retained it? And if you are unsure, then what can you do to see if they have retained it? And it's a good time to talk to your team. If I marked this pink, but then I have a colleague who did not, they can ask me what I did to get my students proficient there. So just talk to each other about that. Then number 3, you're just going to prioritize the remaining of the year. So you're going to look and say, cross out what you don't have time to be concerned with. So it's like, you know what, we don't have time to do this with the rest of the year. You're going to put pink dots by items that need to be addressed right now. So you'd feel, if I felt like this OA6, you know what, it stuck to my fingernail. We're going to put that there. I guess that should be a priority if we need to address it now. So you're going to put pink dots by items that need to be taught and assessed right now. Yellow dots by items that you hope to address this year, but if you don't get to it, you know, it's okay. It's not a priority. And then you're going to do your Q4 unit of study planning. So you're going to talk to each other and decide how and when you're going to teach the items. That's when you're going to use your planning tools and your calendars, just like we've been doing with all the other things with the 15-day calendars. Then you're going to decide also when you're planning this, think how are you going to assess these items? How are you going to know that the students know? And I know it's a little bit more difficult with the distance learning, and if you need help, Anna and I are always here to help. Then for number 4, get together and ask, this is like the closure reflection, like what did you notice? What are you pleased with? What do you want to refine for next year? And start thinking about pacing for next year. If you're looking at your sheet here and you can see that you had a lot of stars, you have a lot of priority standards, but you did not get to them, go back and reflect and see how your pacing could be better for next year to try to get through everything, to make sure, like it says here, that all your standards are taught. So I hope that this makes more sense. When you are finished, Briar wants a copy of everything. Don't send her the original because you need the original so you know what's going on here, but send her a copy of the whole packet all put together after you've done your individual part and the parts with your team. We love you guys. You're awesome.
Yeah.